We had been married for 15 years. I am Emma, and my husband, Martin, and I built a life together. Or at least, I thought we did. I believed love grows stronger with time, that couples who spend years together become inseparable. But I was wrong. Sometimes, couples don't grow closer. They drift apart, quietly, almost imperceptibly, until one day you wake up and realize you've been living next to a stranger. My husband, Martin, was always busy. Work, late-night meetings, always something, business trips. He was everywhere except at home with me. I used to think it was normal, that he was providing for us, that I should be grateful. Slowly, though, I faded from his life. I gave up my job, my dreams, my freedom, everything just to keep our home peaceful. I thought that's what marriage meant: sacrifice, patience, unwavering loyalty. One night, Martin came home late. The house was silent, the kind of quiet that presses against your chest. I smelled a perfume I didn't recognize. It wasn't mine. It was soft, sweet, unfamiliar. My stomach sank. My hands trembled slightly, but I said nothing. I just took his shoes, warmed his dinner, and placed it on the table. Inside me, something had started to break. A tiny crack at first, but it grew with every quiet sigh and distracted glance he gave me. The next morning, while Martin was in the shower, his phone buzzed. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. A message appeared. Last night was perfect. Miss you already. Sarah. My hands shook violently. I set the phone down as if it had burned me. For a moment, I wondered, had I been living with a stranger all this time? A man who laughed and smiled at me in the morning, but shared his nights with someone else? I didn't confront him that day. I only said softly, "You look tired, Martin. Maybe you need some rest." He nodded and said, "Yeah, I just needed to feel something new. Life feels so dull lately." I wanted to scream. I wanted to yell, to make him see the pain he was causing, but I didn't. I only whispered inside, "Then go. Find what feels new. But remember, even youth and excitement get old." And he left. The first few weeks without Martin were the hardest. The house felt enormous. Every echo, a reminder of what once was. Every chair, every cup, every photograph reminded me of him. I would sit alone, staring at the walls, hearing echoes of laughter that once filled this home. I asked myself again and again, was it all a lie? Had I spent 15 years loving someone who was already gone in spirit? Nights were the worst. I stayed awake with a cup of tea, sometimes wine. The silence pressed on me like a heavy weight. I tried reading, cleaning, anything to distract myself, but the void followed me into every room, every thought. But one rainy night, I stood on the balcony, letting the cold rain hit my face. I whispered to the empty street below, "Am I really gone or just lost?" And something deep inside me replied, "You're not gone, Emma. You just forgot who you were." That moment sparked something, a tiny flicker of hope. The first time I felt alive in weeks. The next morning, I made a promise to myself. I opened my closet and pulled out all the clothes I wore only because Martin liked them. The dresses, the shoes, the jackets. I packed them up and donated them. I put on a red dress I had bought years ago, but never worn because Martin said it was too bold. And when I looked in the mirror, for the first time in years, I recognized myself. I picked up my paintbrush again. I had always loved painting, but I had abandoned it for marriage, for Martin, for the life I thought I wanted. Colors and shapes filled my world again. Every stroke felt like a small healing, slow but real. I joined a small art class at a local community center. The people there were kind, curious, and supportive. I made friends who had stories similar to mine, women and men who had lost themselves in love, in work, in family obligations. We shared our struggles, our laughs, our tears. I began living again, really living. My evenings were no longer full of tears and silence. They were full of light, color, and music. Weeks turned into months. I traveled to the library more often, joined a book club, and even took long walks through the city parks. I learned to breathe again. Each step was a reminder that I didn't need Martin to exist, to be happy, to be whole. I also started writing a journal, pouring out every emotion I had bottled up for years. The pain of betrayal, the loneliness, the anger, the heartbreak. Writing became my therapy. Every page turned into a tiny relief. I began volunteering at a local shelter. Helping others gave me a sense of purpose beyond Martin, beyond my marriage. I connected with women who had faced similar betrayals, shared advice, laughed, cried, and encouraged each other to find themselves. I realized I wasn't alone in this struggle. My pain wasn't unique, but my strength could be. One afternoon, while working on a painting for an upcoming local exhibit, I received a message from Martin. My heart skipped, but curiosity was replaced by caution. "Emma, how are you?" His words were soft, almost fragile. I replied calmly, "I'm fine. You?" He hesitated, then admitted, "Sarah, the woman I left you for, she left me. She said I changed, that I'm not the man she fell in love with." I smiled faintly. "I once told you the same thing, Martin. You didn't listen then." He went quiet, then asked, "Can we meet? Maybe for coffee?" I thought for a moment and said, "Okay." We met at a small cafe downtown. He looked older. His hair was gray, his eyes tired. He said, "Emma, you've changed. There's peace in you now." I smiled. Yes, I learned how to turn pain into strength. He lowered his eyes and said, "I'm sorry. I hurt you so much. You gave up everything for me, and I left you. I wish I could take it back." I looked at him calmly. "Martin, I forgave you long ago, but I am not the same woman anymore. I don't need you now." I became the woman I needed to be. He couldn't speak. I stood up, paid for my coffee, and walked out. The sun was warm. The air felt light. For the first time in years, I felt free. Months went by. I kept painting, and one day I held a small exhibition of my artwork. People said my paintings were full of emotion, pain, but beautiful. I smiled. That pain wasn't mine anymore. It was part of my story, a story I survived. I started traveling to galleries, attending art talks, and connecting with other artists. I discovered a world I had ignored while consumed by a marriage that had faded. Each painting I completed reminded me that I was no longer living for someone else. I was living for me. Sometimes, when the moonlight fills my room at night, I think, if Martin had never left, would I have found myself? Probably not. I would still be living in his shadow. I didn't lose when he left. I changed. I turned my silence into strength, my pain into power. I learned to cook new recipes, explore music I had forgotten, and even started a small blog to document my journey of self-discovery. The comments from readers, many of them women who resonated with my story, were empowering. They told me they felt seen, inspired, understood. One afternoon, I sat by the window, painting a sunset, when I realized something profound. I had gone from a woman living in the shadow of betrayal to someone whose light was unstoppable. Martin had left for youth, for excitement, for something temporary. But I had found permanence within myself. Martin eventually called again, tentative, almost afraid. He asked if he could see my paintings. I invited him to the exhibition, not for him, but for me. He arrived, eyes wide, taking in the colors, the brush strokes, the life I had poured into every canvas. For a moment, he was silent, and I realized that silence was more powerful than any argument or apology. We talked briefly, but I made it clear that my life no longer revolved around him. He could admire from afar, but I wasn't returning to the past. I had discovered joy in independence, in art, in the strength I never knew I had. Eventually, I moved to a small apartment with a view of the city's skyline. I filled it with colors, plants, music, and laughter from friends I had made along the way.